going to put these back in today. Want to get this in before I paint, so I can get the, so I don't scratch up the new finish when I paint this. It's kind of a bit of a challenge reaching in there. I think that's the way the washer went on. I'm going to look at the old one to make sure. Let me go look and make sure I got that together right. It's all together right. It's just really difficult to get in here and turn the nut, with this core support on here to tighten this up. But it is going in. Alright, I'm not going to bore you with turning the nut. I'll get it tightened up and then we'll go from there. The strut rods are in. I put the rod in and tightened this end up first so that this was fairly, so everything was nicely seated. And then I bolted them to the control arms. And the shop manual says 60 to 90 foot-pounds on these nuts, plus whatever it takes extra to line up the cotter pin hole. And there's no fitting a torque wrench in there, so the specification on those is tight. And the bolts on the control arm that hold the strut rod to the control arm, that holds the control arm from doing this. If you look, there's only one bushing, like the Bel Air has two bushings, so the control arm's, like a triangle, and it's stable. But this bolts to the control arm here, and the nuts underneath there, I think are, I don't remember, they're 70, I put them at 90 foot-pounds, and the strut to lower arm is 70 to 113. The strut to the frame is 60 to 90, and that 3 means torque to specifications, then tighten the nut to the nearest slot. So, done. Yeah, my friend Tom would come over and he'd look at those bushings. He's the one with the Cadillac, 2000 Cadillac. And he was the one that located the Catalina for me. So his Cadillac had suspension issues, so as a reward for finding the Catalina for me after I sold it, I had placed all the control arm bushings on his whole car because they were all shot. And he was over here looking at these, and he saw a couple little just like hair cracks, which rubber gets after time, and was really worried about them. You're going to replace those, aren't you? And I would tell him, no, I'm not going to replace them. They're fine. But yeah, I did replace them. My goal the whole time was to put new ones in. I just like giving them the business. So there we go. Now I got to put when the parts come in for the sway control, I'll put that on. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I might put the backing plates on and start pulling the fenders. I got this. And I was thinking this would dress the car up, don't you think? Maybe weld it on there, or maybe here, or maybe half of it here and half of it there, just kind of somewhere on, and paint it fluorescent orange. Maybe take these off and put it back here. Not. I just had to have a Galaxie one. And I'm going to do a giveaway eventually, and I'll show you what I'm going to give away when I do it. Pretty neat, huh? So I think in the future, I don't know when, I'll have to dream up some type of giveaway, and I'll give this away. I think I'll do this give it away before Christmas. So let me think about what I want to do for, how I want to go about doing a giveaway, but I'm definitely going to give that away. That one's for the Bel Air. And I got one for the Catalina when I had that. That one's the Catalina. Oh, this is an estate sale. That was like $2.50, and I've seen those on eBay for a couple $100. I think that's just nuts. But anyway, I figured for $2.50 I can stuff it in the garage maybe over the holidays. I don't know, somebody offered me $25, $30 for it, I'd probably sell it. But I don't know, it just puts a little, when I run the bead blast cabinet, I turn all the lights off in the garage, and that gives me a little light. I leave that on, but I can see in that better when I turn all the lighting off. And I got a Ford one also, of course. I like all the brands of cars. I'm not one of those brand snobs. I just enjoy cars. I had visitors and they had to see the engine, so yeah, I uncovered it, and they wanted to see the transmission. I'll cover them back up here shortly, and that's went out to eat, and that's when I picked up these. They're plasma cut. These are plasma cut. I don't know. It's fairly thick steel. You can paint them or weld them to something, or hang them out in a tree in the yard, or let them rust out. Whatever they're fun. You can do it. I never paint them. I just leave them all bare metal. Some people like to paint them. I don't care if they get a little rusty. I just think they're kind of neat. But like I say, we'll do a giveaway on this. So I was looking for the bolts to hold the backing plates on, and I just ended up cleaning the whole trunk out. It was getting to be a disaster. I put the spare tire back in correctly. I had that side all lifted up and cleaned, and that side's all like that, the right side. Left side, that's the worst. That's all bare metal. That's the worst rust in the trunk, and it's just light surface rust. I could probably take some 80 grit and have that off, and a little bit of sanding. But all this is going to get all repainted too with this. I'll paint it probably with I'll clean it up and paint it, spray it with probably acrylic enamel or something, because this doesn't really seal moisture out, the speckle paint. But that's what it's going to be finished when I'm done, is that speckle paint. But in the meantime, I'm going to paint it with something that'll keep it, maybe if I have any of that leftover urethane, I don't know, we'll paint it with something that'll prevent it from rusting up again, from moisture. So these mats just kind of hold the moisture in. And these are all the original mats to the car. I'll clean them up too. So after cleaning the whole trunk out, I found the bolts to hold the backing plates to the spindles, and of all places, set them in the brake drums, which I need to take those drums in and get them turned, make sure they're good, not beyond their limits. And if they are, then I'm going to have to get some new drums. And if I have to get new drums, the hub, I think, is part of the drum. I might as well put new bearings in it, like I say, if I have to replace the drums. Yeah, the inside of the trunk needed a good straightening up, so it just kind of was, it was piled right up to the top here, just kind of haphazardly, and I didn't want any of this stuff that's painted to get scratched or overspray on it when I paint the urethane. So this way I put everything in the trunk. I can close the trunk, and I'll cover most of the car up, so it doesn't get overspray all over it. Everything in the garage will be covered. The truck will be out. But it needed a desperate cleaning. And I mounted the spare tire with the jack, everything the way the instructions there show too, so that's all in right. And anyway, just thought I'd show the trunk cleaned up a little bit here. Give you an idea of the amount of receipts so far. It's getting pretty thick. That's all receipts for everything I've put into the car so far. And that, is everything. When I had to buy more grit for that goes in there. So, because that's what I used the grit when I bought it for, that was to use on this car. So it's an expense on this car. So I bill it to the car. Got the foam stuck back on the things, a little contacts. this this nut holds the wheel cylinder on up here and tightens that top. But that's it. I'll tighten up those bolts and the backing plates on. Both the backing plates are installed. These bolts, the nuts, those are like splined into the backing plate, but the nuts on the back, well, there's not enough light back there, but they're 25 to 45 foot-pounds, and I put them at 35. This is at like 100 foot-pounds on the wheel cylinders on there. The wheel cylinder goes over that. Wheel cylinder has like a, that's where that nut that holds the wheel cylinder on goes. So I'm going to probably get some new wheel cylinders and new shoes and hardware and get the drums turned and get the front brakes together, and then I can put the front wheels back on. So other than the sway bar, which will be on the end of next week because the parts are on order, and the shock absorbers, which I'll see if I have at my dad's next trip up, which will probably be in the next day or two, and the front suspension, once that shocks and the sway bars in, the suspension will be completely done, other than torquing these down once the car's sitting on the ground all fully assembled. So as you see, I didn't get the fenders off. I had company today. I have more of a life, more than a working on the car life. I do have, you know, do go out and do things with friends and family and stuff. So anyway, today was kind of just a quickie, put the strut bars on, put the backing plates on, clean up a bit. Like I say, you know, people were over, you know, they were checking the car out and stuff too. So I'm gonna call it a day here, so this will be kind of a short video. So if you like my videos, hit the like button. If you want to see this all painted up in the next 4 or 5 days, or want to see this car resurrected, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching. Hopefully next time I'll do a video of when I take the fenders off, and then obviously a video when this is all painted up. I'm not going to take a video of painting it because I don't want paint on my camera there. Again, thank you for watching.